Hello and welcome to the brief Flat Earth Introductions Guide. My name is Stephen Richards. I'm sure you all know that by now, but I'm going to be taking you through a couple of key things that stick out in the Flat Earth theory. We are also going to be opening our minds to new possibilities and quite possibly a new reality. I have selected 5 points to the Flat Earth theory that I deem important and that are simple enough to digest, break down, and understand. Number 1. There is not a single credible picture of Earth based on comparing all the supposed pictures from the various space organizations. Ocean tints are all different, even on the same ocean. Land masses should line up no matter the organization or the year that the image was supposedly taken. But as we can see here, even NASA can't keep it consistent with themselves. Why is the United States of America a desert in 2015, but in 2002, it's all green? Why in 2015 is the United States about 200 miles wider on each side and cover up a fourth of the world? Do you see the issue we have here? These space agencies and organizations, they are guilty of fraud. They are lying to you about the shape, the color of the Earth. Number 2, the flat horizon. It is a cold hard fact that no matter the altitude of the prospector, the horizon meets you at eye level and is 100% flat. We know this through various weather balloon launches, some being as high as 115,000 feet or higher, showing their horizon as completely flat and eye level. So if it's flat at 20 miles up, and it's flat at 10 miles up, or even 10 feet up, simple logic and common sense and your eyes will show you that the Earth, of what we can see of it, is entirely flat. Through this computer-generated horizon prospector test, you will see that we are on the right side, which is a balloon taking elevation on a flat, motionless plane, rather than a balloon taking launch on a rotating globe. If we were on a ball, we would see the horizon start to dip and the geography underneath us start to turn. But do we see that? Indeed, we do not. Number 3. Water will always find its level, which is flat. Any man who goes to sea will not tell you that he and his ship traveled down or up the slope of the water, but indeed he traveled at sea level. Out at sea, the horizon 360 degrees around you is 100% flat. If we were on a globe, at some point you would have to face a wall of water or travel up or down this hill, but this has never been recorded. If 78% of the world is water, which is level, which is flat, then common sense says that at least 78% of this world is flat. No matter which body of water you're in, it will find its level as flat. Simple as flat. I mean that. Number 4, the Antarctic mystery. Since 1959, nobody, no nation, has since been to Antarctica for resourceful or economic reason. In 1959, the Antarctic Treaty System was put into place and signed by 12 nations, and now over 50 have signed. So why lock down the coldest place on Earth from economic and resourceful exploration? Well, it's not like there's anything down there, right? No. Quite the opposite. If you ask Admiral Byrd, who spent a good part of 30 years down there and has been on numerous missions funded by the U.S. military. He was actually on national TV in 1955 and said there's enough coal, oil, and other natural resources, including iridium, to last many years. In 1956 to 57, Admiral Richard Byrd led his final expedition And at the end of this mission, you must think you found something, because the entire fleet, not to include all the Russians, the English, and a handful of other nations that were down there, just suddenly scattered. They left quicker than they got there. Noted that Richard Byrd's first expedition was in 1929. So like I said before, about 30 years down there, and then he finds something and everyone leaves. Since 1957, Antarctica has been sealed off from the world, and the treaty is not up for discussion until 2041. The second Byrd left, a series of events happened shortly after. Byrd mysteriously dies in his sleep in 1958. Upper atmospheric atomic weapon testing starts, and after the third shot is recorded, which was between 250 and 400 kilometers, NASA is immediately formed. Then in 59, the treaty was signed to seal off Antarctica from everyone, everywhere. Interestingly enough, these rockets kept firing up for about 2 more years, and in 1961, the Russians and the United States, who were both firing these rockets, completely stopped. Now, is this a coincidence? Or is it possible that Byrd found the mythical barrier to our world and the military wanted to see how high it was and to map it out? If these accusations are true, then this verifies the flat earth theory as a reality. NASA and the Antarctic Peace Force are nothing but gatekeepers of the world. NASA makes sure we can't get to whatever that they hit at 300 kilometers approximately, and the Peace Force keeps us from finding whatever Byrd found in 57. Now, I'm not saying that this proves there's a dome, but if they let us go out there past the Antarctic ice shelf and to where Byrd went, I'm very positive we would find something that defies our beliefs. Which brings me to my fifth and final one: the restrictions from above. From a creation point of view, I have to tip my hat to whoever or whatever made this place and put us here. If you haven't picked up on it yet, this place we call Earth was perfectly created for the perfect species. We are that species. And as humans, we have natural restrictions that coincidentally were part of the creation of Earth. As humans, we need oxygen to breathe, and coincidentally, the higher you go in elevation, the less oxygen there is. So that restricts us as individuals from going up there and seeing exactly what we're on. But fortunately, rockets and balloons can go up as high as 100,000 feet and higher. And even then, you still cannot see the entirety of this Earth. If you really want to get freaked out, go to YouTube and type in 73-mile rocket launch. Once the rocket goes 73 miles up, it stops like it's hit something. It makes an interesting noise. It almost sounds like it's hitting some sort of barrier. But if you ask me, it sounds like if you hold your nose and jump into a pond of water. Very interesting sound, and stops the rocket in its tracks. But back on track now. Humans need air to live, and 78% of this Earth is water. Do you see the issue with that? Never mind the fact that the oceans are salt water and are also very dangerous. But if you go underwater, you have to hold your breath. The air is absent. If you're on a ship in the middle of the ocean and a rogue wave hits you, there's a very high chance you're gonna die. No air equals no life. So if you want to make a run for the Antarctic ice wall, you're taking one hell of a risk by going by sea, which before airplanes is exactly what you've had to do. But either way, once you've reached the Antarctic ice wall, the conditions get worse and worse and worse the more inland you go. Not to mention that only a few hundred miles into the Antarctic ice shelf, the geography shoots straight up to about 2 miles in plateaus. After that, if you make it that far, just remember, it took Byrd almost 30 years of expeditions to complete his voyage. And then at the end of his voyage, he must have found something epic enough to scare more than 5 nations away. And since 1957, no one has been where he has been. So you know what he found, right? If his testimonies are legit, there's no doubt in my mind that he found the edge of the world, whatever that may be. Could have been anything from a dome to a gatekeeper. But whatever it was, the military is not looking for it anymore. Can't blame them either. Must have been one scary sight. But if you understand what I'm saying here, we were never meant to find the edge. The dome, if there is one. It's too high and too far out in the ice shelf for any one single man to find it himself, which is why Byrd took a fleet with him. But that's going to wrap this one up. Once again, Stephen Richards. If you need to contact me, feel free to shoot me an email at scuba2114@gmail.com. Feel free to give me a phone call at 1413-896-6379. Enjoy and have a good day.